Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It is Palestine here. I'm just here this morning because when I woke up this morning, my nail is starting to fall off. I don't know if you can see it, but only half of it is falling off, and the other half of it is still stuck. And I don't know if you can see it. There's my nail. And I thought about going to the minor injuries unit and asking them to take the nail off. But after that incident with that awful man, who's a bully, by the way, I just don't want to go back there. And so tomorrow I've got to make an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning so I can see a doctor, so I can show him my nail, and I can tell him that at the hospital they said that they believe, based on the fact that I'm diabetic, that I probably have an infection in my nail and I need some medication to clear the nail infection. And he said that it would take several months for it to work. So I don't want to go back to a minor injuries unit after what that awful man did. I was speaking to my friend on Tuesday who I give him things, and he said that minor injuries has a lot of frequent flyers in it, and he said that he doesn't want to go to minor injuries or A&E or anything like that because of the kind of people that end up there. And so I don't know. This man didn't look like a bum to me. He was just wearing jeans and a coat, and he was on his own, and maybe he had a work accident. But if he had a work accident, then why wasn't somebody with him? Or maybe he had these plastic boots on both of his feet, so obviously it was a problem with both of his feet. And my friend said, oh, well, it was a suicide attempt. I don't know if it was a suicide attempt. I don't know what was going on with this man. But he was a horrible man, and he was yelling at me. And the nurses even heard him yelling at me because they offered him some codeine to shut him up. So I don't know what was happening, but I don't want to go back to minor injuries. After that, I'll just see my GP, and there's my nail. You can see it. You can see how it's just coming off. Part of it's on and part of it's off. And I'll have to talk to my GP about why the nail came off in the first place. And then so when I made my last video, I did actually ring that organization, and I had sent them documents, and they hadn't put the documents on the system, and they hadn't contacted me. So the lady said that she was going to forward it on to a manager to deal with. And then because I sent them the documents and they weren't put on the system. And then I'm going to wait till next week. Next week I'm going to get my pay slip for February. And then when I get my pay slip for February, I'm going to ring them again. It's just a terrible situation. I'm being let down by the system. I've been cut off. I'm told that I'm mentally ill, and I've been cut off, and I'm living off my savings because the money that I get from my permitted work isn't enough for me to live on. So I'm having to spend my savings if I want to buy food or something like that. And in addition to that, I have a friend who has a learning disability, and he doesn't really understand how things work. He thinks that I can get a council house, and when I'm in a council house, I won't have to pay any rent. And I told him, I said, even if you're in a council house, you have to pay rent. He said, well, my mother didn't pay any rent. And I said, that's because she didn't have any money. So, but even if you live in a council house, if you got money, you have to pay rent. They're not going to let you not pay a rent. He just thought that I would get in a council house and all my problems would be over. But that's not the way it works. Because I wanted to move into this building called Patriot Place, and you had to be over 55 to live there. Well, the rent was more in that place was more expensive than it is where I'm living now. And because it was a bigger apartment, I had to pay more council tax, because in the UK you have to pay council tax. And then if my boyfriend moved in with me, he would lose all his benefits. So that meant that I would be responsible to pay all the bills because he wouldn't have any money. And so I did want to move. I had an opportunity to move, but I couldn't move because I couldn't afford to move. And I can't afford to support my boyfriend, which is why I stay here. But my friend with a learning disability, he doesn't, because he has a learning disability, he just thinks, oh, well, you just get a council house and all your problems will be over. No, even if you're in a council house, you still have to pay rent, you still have to pay housing, council tax. And so, yeah, this week's been pretty bad, and there were some issues at work that really upset me too, but I cannot discuss that. But I'm really upset about these issues at work. And so that was it. So I just thought I would update you and let you know that my nail is coming off, but it's not totally off, it's partially off. I'm going to have to take some tape and tape the nail back together, because as soon as I put anything on my nail, it comes off right away. But I'm going to take some tape and tape it back together, and hopefully it'll stay on during the day, and we'll see how that goes. And then tomorrow I'll try to get in to see a doctor because I have to go to work. And that was another issue whenever I went into the minor injuries unit on Monday. There's this woman that I see occasionally at work, because I have to walk across the building, which is this big building, to give her things. And she was telling me, just take off right now, and go to minor injuries unit right now. Just do it. Well, I didn't do it, because even if I had gone to minor injuries unit like she wanted me to, when she wanted me to, I still would have had to make my time up. So instead of getting off at 1:30, I would have to get off at 2:30 or 3:30 or however long I was at minor injuries unit, which I didn't want to do that. And then two, if I had been on the clock, if I had been on my shift when I was in minor injuries unit and that man started yelling at me, then I could have gotten in trouble because I was on my shift. But since I had finished my shift and I was there as a patient, I feel that because I wasn't at work, I finished my shift and I was there as a patient, I feel that whatever I may have said wasn't any of their business because I was there as a patient. But that's another issue, and you have to be really, really careful what you do. You do have to be careful, because yesterday I was looking at the hospital, looking at Facebook, and this man put on Facebook saying he was looking for a lawyer because his wife had been unfairly dismissed from an organization. And that's another point. If a company wants rid of you, they can get rid of you. People are naive. They think that human resources is their friend, and human resources is not their friend. Human resources is there to make sure that the company is following its legal obligations, but human resources is always going to take the side of the company. So it's a very complex issue. So I'm glad that I didn't take this woman's well-meaning but bad advice to tell me to go to minor injuries unit while I was working. I'm glad that I finished my shift and I went to minor injuries unit when I finished my shift. because at that point I wasn't working. I was not there as an employee. I was there as a patient. And then also tried to ring the PALS office, Patients Advice and Liaison Service. They're not picking up their phone. So I went in there in person to talk to them. They're not seeing people. The only thing that you can do is send them an email. And I decided that I didn't want to send them an email. So I can't do anything about that horrible man who was yelling at me. So I think that concludes this video. I've updated you on everything that's happened in the last few days. And tomorrow I will be trying to get in to see a doctor about my thumb and maybe get some antifungal medication or something, some kind of help to see if we can get the nail to grow back. So thank you so much for watching my video. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. And I'll probably be making a video after I've seen the doctor about my thumb.